Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome to Coffee Talk. We are your hosts, Southborough Youth and Family Services. My name is Sarah Castle. I'm the Director of Southborough Youth and Family. And with me this morning, we have Megan Island, who's our Assistant Director. Good morning, Megan. We also have Shannon Knyman, who is our Program Coordinator. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning.
And we're so happy to welcome our special guest today, Christine Nelson. Good morning, Christine.
Hello.
Hello. So Christine is on our show today to talk with us about a common thing that many of you have heard about, but maybe haven't practiced before or may not be fully clear on what it is. A strategy we wanted to talk more about because we think it's important and it's a really positive way to regulate stress. So Christine is a yoga instructor, a certified yoga instructor, and she's going to come on to talk with us today about what yoga is and how it can be helpful. And then also we'll be doing some yoga with us. So that's very exciting. So welcome everybody. Let's start with our cheers. We have to start our Coffee Talk episode off right. It does feel a little strange to be hydrating with coffee while doing yoga or talking about yoga, but you do what you have to at
you do what you got to do.
Yes. So I walked into my office this morning. Shannon and Megan know that we work in a building. It's an old school building, and the thermostat here, or the temperature here, is very hard to regulate. So I opened my office door and bam, I was hit with a wave of heat when I came in this morning. And to top that off, I am running on probably, if you can't tell, I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep because my 5-year-old was having some stomach issues last night. He was very uncomfortable, so I was up with him quite a bit. So I was imagining how today's episode is going to go for me, that if I fall asleep, Shannon or Megan, you guys need to take over sort of MC duties at some point. So don't do anything too relaxing, Christine.
All right. I was going to say this actually might be the best episode for you then under these
maybe, except I do have to transition into work after this, and so one of you might need to call Christina in the other room to have her come wake me up or something. So
every once in a while, yeah.
But yeah, it reminded me. I also thought, well, I'm going to be doing hot yoga today.
Hot yoga.
Yeah,
I was thinking that as you said that.
I know, Megan, you had this issue in your office last year where it was very hot, and maybe it's still that way.
It was, yeah. Yesterday was pretty warm in there.
Yeah. And I can't remember, did you have a thermostat in there at one, like a thermometer?
I still have it.
And what, there was a temperature you had reported to me at one point that it got to.
Yeah, like 86 at one
Okay.
So yeah, I'm feeling that this morning. I don't know the exact temperature in here, but it's pretty warm. So. Yeah, but
you should be drinking iced coffee.
I guess.
Yeah.
I need iced coffee or ice water or something. So anyway, and the other thing I was going to mention is that we're all getting ready for this snowstorm that's about to come on Thursday, which may or may not have an impact on people.
Right. I've heard a dusting to 14 inches in my life, so that's really not helpful at all.
classic snowstorm prediction.
Somewhere in between. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out. So I have one child who goes to school every day, the other one who's home every day, and then my husband is a hybrid teacher. So I'm trying to figure out who's going to be where. Are we all just going to be home? How are we going to function if we've got two kids who are supposed to be remote learn? It reminds me of the springtime. I'm having a little bit of PTSD with the idea of having both my kids home remote learning and my husband and I both working, but.
Well, maybe you guys should just all take the day off and do the yoga that you learned today.
Oh, what a beautiful segue, Shannon. Let's go there. Let's go there and talk about it. And maybe we will do that. And I'll post a picture of the three men in my house doing yoga. We'll see. So as we mentioned, Christine is a certified yoga instructor. And we do a lot of talking on the show, as we are right now. We talk a lot about important topics. We try to bring on special guests that we want members of the community to be introduced to. But also, part of the creation of this show was to try to create a space for people to come and get support, maybe hear messages of hope during a difficult year, and sometimes share a laugh, as I often like to try to infuse in every episode. Today is all about kind of creating that space, and instead of spending the whole episode talking, we wanted to put some of our conversation into action by actually doing some yoga together. And we hope that viewers will participate along with us, or at least, learn something. And maybe I was kind of thinking of this episode as it's kind of like a commercial / sales pitch for yoga, that it's a very helpful stress regulating strategy that we don't have enough time today to be able to really introduce to you everything there is to know about yoga. So we're going to do our best to give you sort of a snapshot of it, and hope that means that you will be inspired to do more of it. So, so Christine, why don't you start by telling us about yourself and your background?
Okay, well, I am a very newly registered yoga teacher. I literally finished my program on December 2nd.
Congratulations.
So, brand new.
That's great.
So fitness and nutrition are things that have always been really important to me. Mm-hmm. And, but my love for yoga and my need for yoga has grown quite a bit over the years. And so, earlier this year, I had put out to the universe that I thought I might like to take a teacher training, and a teacher training literally fell into my lap. And so I just kind of jumped at the opportunity, and timing was perfect. And that was that. That's so, so I believe that started in May. And as I said, I just finished, a couple weeks ago. And so here I am kind of, getting that going.
That's great. So would it be fair to say that you may be a newer yoga instructor, but yoga is not new to you, because it sounds like you had a love and a passion for yoga personally that sort of might have been the impetus or the motivation for you to move forward in that journey?
I guess kind of, but so I'm a runner. I like running. Yeah. And I'm not good about stretching before and or after running. And so I guess over the years, I always had like a couple yoga DVDs that I just throw in and do and say, yeah, I stretched.
Sure.
And, yeah. Okay. And, but then, time marches on and you start needing stretching more than you need running. And so I just found myself doing yoga more. And so really before my yoga teacher training, I could probably count the number of times I have actually taken a yoga class at a place. I have always just kind of done my DVDs. And not that that's good or bad, but it's just kind of funny, you know, because it's not like I'm, you know, always, you know, showing up every day to my yoga class. Like that was not me at all. And so then to be taking this teacher training and actually like having a teacher, you know, was a very different experience. And it was kind of like almost like a baptism by fire sort of thing, you know, because I'd just been doing it on my own and okay, that's enough. Stop. You know, it's like, okay. So
what might be
that?
Yeah, I was going to say what might be validating about that for anybody who's watching, and maybe myself included, is that I've always been a little intimidated by yoga because I have never, maybe not never, I'm not a yoga enthusiast. And so, you know, it's sort of validating to hear that that people have all different backgrounds when it comes to yoga.
Definitely. You know, I was thinking that, you know, as you were saying that, I think people have like an automatic, you know, you say yoga and you think of all these poses that, you know, somebody contorts their body into, that's just like impossible. And I think that's why it's intimidating, or people are not, like you said, like yoga enthusiasts. They just think, well, I can't do that. And, you know, and if there's anything that I've learned, it's that yoga is for everyone. Everyone can do yoga and everyone should.
That's great.
Yeah. So Christine, how would you describe yoga? Because I think everybody knows that there are different kinds of yoga. So how would you describe yoga to someone who doesn't really know a lot about it?
So the word yoga actually means union. And it's the union of your body and your mind and your heart or your spirit. And so the poses that we talk about sort of contribute to that and help you connect your body, your mind, and your spirit. But there are other parts to yoga too that bring all of that together. So if you approach yoga thinking that you are going to connect your body, your mind, and your spirit, that just sounds fantastic. There's nothing intimidating about that.
That's
you know, and so, you know, so if I said downward facing dog, people are like, no, can't do that. But if I said body, mind, and spirit, let's connect. Aren't you like, yes, please, right? So that would be my answer to that question.
That's great.
Yeah. And there are lots of different kinds of yoga, right, Christine? And so is there a type of yoga that you teach, or are you teaching all kinds, or is there one that you particularly prescribe to, or?
Well, so I will be teaching Hatha yoga, which is, you know, your series of postures. And so another little lesson in Sanskrit, those postures are called asanas. So, you know, so the series of asanas is Hatha yoga. But there are different types, like we mentioned, the hot yoga, or your like yoga sculpt, which might be a little bit more fitness centered and incorporate like handheld weights and things like that. And then you can get into, you know, paths of yoga that are part of like the Hindu culture that incorporate chanting and meditation and all of that. So really, I would bore you to death if I talked about every type of yoga that's ever existed. But as I said, you know, the yoga that I would be teaching is Hatha yoga. Or I guess that's what, you know, most of those classes that are your series of postures or asanas would be Hatha yoga.
And it just kind of goes to show too, with all the different kinds of yoga that you were saying, it's for everyone. So it's kind of like, we talk a lot about obviously mental health and therapy, and that sometimes when you go to a therapist, we say that might not click with you. That might not be the right kind of therapy, the right therapist for you. And yoga's a lot like that too, that there are so many different kinds of yoga, so many different types of instructors, that it's not so much, it might be that you tried yoga and it didn't work for you, but it might have been the wrong kind or the wrong teacher or.
Right. And, you know, and we're talking about the asanas, and even by talking about that, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, because there is a, you know, another part of yoga that is just breathing techniques. And I was actually on the phone with my mom the other day, and I was talking about this and kind of mentally preparing for, you know, today, and saying that, you know, right now, it is so hard to breathe. We are stressed, or I am stressed. I am anxious. I am worried. And that makes it hard to breathe. We're wearing masks all the time. That makes it hard to breathe. You know, we're afraid of catching this virus or spreading the virus. The virus alone affects our respiratory systems. So, like, who in their right mind wants to breathe? I don't at all. So that's all the more reason to breathe. So if we can just do some yogic breathing, forget about downward dog. It's not important right now. Can we just breathe? God, you know?
Yeah. Can we had a couple of other questions, but I feel like that's just such a really nice segue into what you were hoping to do with us today, which was, you know, obviously we're on Zoom. We're not going to be doing down. We could do downward dog and our feet would be up in the air. It would be great. It would be really maybe comedic relief for all of our viewers, all 7 of you. Or, you know, if any of the selectmen are watching, you know, that it's Youth and Family Services hard at work with our feet in the air. And
right. That's exactly the moment they tune in.
Right. That would be great. But so I think, so Christine was planning to do some breathing work with us today. And again, I love what you just said about it is hard to breathe right now. And that could be literally or figuratively, however you want to interpret that. But there's a lot of reasons that we're not able to make all of those connections between mind, body, and spirit. And so I'd love to, you know, segue into what you had planned to do with us today, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Great.
Well, okay. So I guess we are all in the perfect position. You know, we're all seated in a chair, but any breathing exercise can be done any time. So while you're still laying in bed, you haven't got out of bed in the morning, or if you're on your lunch break and you're sitting at your desk and you just kind of need to center yourself, or before bed, if you're just trying to relax after a stressful day, this can be done anytime, anywhere. So, so just take a minute, you know, sit with a straight spine so we can get our energy flowing, and just take a few seconds to find your normal breathing, your natural breath, eyes open or closed, whatever comfortable for you. And once you find your natural breath, place your hands on your lower belly. We can't see our lower bellies in our little squares here on the screen, but just kind of a little bit below your belly button. And so you're breathing naturally with your eyes open or closed and with your spine nice and straight and tall. But see if you can direct your breath to that lower belly. So you might be someone who naturally breathes into your lungs, into your chest, but see if you can bypass your chest and go right to your lower belly and just inhale and exhale there. Kind of feel like when you inhale that you're inflating a balloon and your belly gets bigger and your hands move away from your body. And then when you exhale, the balloon kind of deflates and your hands come back down. So just take a minute to breathe just there. Maybe do it to a few counts, like inhale 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4. So I don't know if I've given you enough time to fully feel the effect of that, but I want to move on to a different way of doing things. So now, if you don't mind, place your hands on your heart and direct your breath just there. So we were breathing into our lower belly, but now try to direct your breath just to your heart and feel your upper chest, push your hands up and away. And then as you exhale, it comes back down. You're kind of feeling your whole rib cage expand, even in the back. Try that count again. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. So this next thing might be a little bit more challenging. If you place your hands on your lower ribs, almost like the ribs that aren't attached to your sternum, and try breathing just there, like into that diaphragm area. I feel like that's harder to do than the lower belly or the upper chest. You're feeling the middle of your abdomen expand all the way around and then come back down. So now to put it all together and do what would be called full yogic breathing from the bottom up, you can place your hands anywhere, maybe one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest, or just put both hands in your lap, whatever going to be comfortable for you. And inhale from the bottom up. So inhale, just expand the abdomen for a couple counts, then expand the lower ribs for a couple counts, then expand the upper ribs for a couple counts. And when you exhale, go from the top down. So deflate the upper ribs, deflate the lower ribs, deflate the lower belly. And then inhale, bottom up. Exhale, top down. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes again. How do you feel? Down asleep.
Sarah should have been like.
That's a different kind of breathing.
I was thinking while you were talking about the counting part of it, and I know when I do some deep breathing strategies with in our work here, sometimes it's because, again, this is hard for us to do, and why, you know, I think we have a hard time connecting with our breathing or taking time to breathe, is there's just thoughts just constantly coming through. It's like a traffic jam. It's just, and so I feel like the suggestion to use a count in your head might help to focus, you know, to harness the cognition part of yoga breathing, to stay focused on the breathing. And I wish we had a lot more time, because I would probably talk about what to do with those thoughts and what not to do with them, because you can start having this inner battle over, like, you're doing it wrong.
There's a Sanskrit word for that too, and it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's chitta. C-I-T-T-A.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. So,
and that's all those thoughts.
Yeah.
That's
what
that is.
And that takes a lot of practice. It really, really does. And exactly why this taking time out of your day, it seems, you know, we have to do our best sales pitch sometimes to convince people how helpful that is.
Well, one way to, if I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
it's okay.
I want to point out that we did that for like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody has 8 minutes to do that. Sure. And if it means you're going to be connected and centered and hit that reset button, you know, on your lunch break to get you through the second half of the day, you have 8 minutes to do that.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
You absolutely deserve it. And so do the people around you.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Shannon, what
I loved
say?
Just the different parts. I loved how you were doing the different parts of your body, because I think another thing with yoga, and especially right now with the pandemic, what we don't sometimes realize is that we've been dealing with a lot of trauma. And trauma, you know, we think of trauma up here, but quite often trauma gets stored throughout your body. And that yoga is one of those tools that kind of dislodges that pain, and that it can help to just make you feel lighter. And so
that is it. Like, we can end right now, because you just said exactly what it is and exactly the message that I want to convey. That was important to me to become a yoga teacher. So thank you for that. That was exactly it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we hit on the one question that we didn't get to ask was, you know, why should we do yoga? What benefits are there for doing yoga? If we're trying to convince anybody watching to do yoga, why they should do it, and you deserve it. The people around you deserve it.
Love that.
Yeah, your family members, your coworkers. I'm sorry. But also, you know, the part of you deserving it without even really being aware of what you're carrying around with you, you know, it's about taking care of yourself and taking the time to breathe during a time, you know, that it's very hard to breathe, figuratively, literally, and that you deserve at least 8 minutes out of your day to take care of yourself and connect. So I can't believe it's 10:30 already. But Christine, thank you. I hope it was a good commercial for yoga. Just a very, again, when we were talking about yoga being for everyone, it's everyone, unless you're having physical difficulty breathing, but everyone can access yoga, which is great. It doesn't have to be, there's many layers to it. There's many different types to it. As we said, Christine, you didn't even get to, you know, talk about, there's lots of different props that can be used to help people in their yoga experience. So we can certainly, maybe in our comments on this episode, we can share some additional information if you have any good resources that you think would be worth sharing. So thank you for coming on and giving us an introduction.
Thank you for having me.
And I feel ready to move on to work.
Tackle the day despite
yes.
your lack of sleep.
Yes.
And
yes. Sort of in keeping, I think, with today's episode, next week we are talking about, I feel like I need to do this when I'm talking, hygge. I don't know if anybody's heard of hygge before, or hygge, but I'm going to let Shannon talk about it, because this is, I think, another nice form of self-care, and a philosophy that we're going to be talking about next week. Shannon, tell us more.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's really exciting because the winter brings in so many different holidays, not just Christmas, not just Hanukkah, but there are at least like 9 holidays happening throughout different cultures. And it's perfect timing because it's dark, it's cold, it's, you know, and how do you bring happiness? And we're going to be talking about how the philosophy of happiness and coziness and all the things that we need during the winter months. And we're going to do that with a woman who has a blog called Mama in the Now, using hygge and humor. And yeah, so she'll be joining us and talking to us about hygge, and it's going to be awesome. You need to bring your coffee because that's a big part of hygge as well.
Hold your cup like this the whole time and just smell the aroma. And we're all talking about, you know, all the different fuzzy things we're going to be wearing. There's going to be lots of props next week, I think.
That's right.
So at least stay tuned for that.
That's right. So that's fun. The 22nd next week at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Next Tuesday. Awesome. Well, Christine, thank you so much again for coming on today. It was such a pleasure. I think I can at least speak for the 3 of us that we all feel ready to start our day, and I think feel lighter, and so we hope that
I'm actually feeling a little stressed because I just spilled my coffee.
Oh no!
I went
spilled your coffee.
Reach over and I was like, oh great.
Oh no. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Oh, quick shout out to Ethan. Ethan's on school break right now. He said, Mom, please say a shout out to me because he's been watching Coffee Talk every single week.
Oh, Ethan!
Now go back to school. Okay.